Hi, if you like the video, please remember to subscribe.
Hi, Rob from roblandphoto.com with a quick video review of a book I've been looking at recently, which is photographs by Robert Capa. Well, the photographs of Robert Capa, and the book's called Photographs, published by Aperture. I picked this up at the local library. And yeah, Robert Capa, famous war photographer, and this has excerpts of his work from sort of his start as a professional photojournalist back in the 1930s in Paris, in France, right through to the Spanish Civil War, Mexican elections, World War II, Japan, and onto his final assignments in Indochina, where unfortunately he was killed in 1954 when he stepped on a landmine while out taking photographs for an assignment for a magazine. Okay, so let's have a look. Well, this is the hardback version, as you can see, it's from the library, and the pictures are really on nice, really beautiful glossy paper. You really get a sense of, you can really look at the pictures properly. I mean, they're not huge, but you know, they're really good. And as I say, it starts off with a rather nice introduction, if you like, from Henri Cartier-Bresson, the famous French photographer. And if you listen to podcast 19, I talk about that. But let's have a look at some of the pictures and pick out some of my favourites as well. So as I say, it starts off in France, and we have lots of street scenes and demonstrations, what's going on, local life, that sort of stuff. That's training for some riots. The Spanish Civil War. Some really, really nice photographs here. Capa was taking pictures for the sort of on the nationalist side, on the democratically elected leftish government who were fighting the General Franco, who was supported by the fascists from Germany. And we've got a nice selection of, there's military shots, but there's also lots that concentrate on the civilian side of things, the damage done by the new tactic of bombing cities en masse. That's probably one of Capa's most famous photographs of a nationalist soldier being shot. Moment of death, if you like, where he's captured that image. Because the difference with Capa was he believed that the only real way to represent warfare and battle, because you couldn't really, in reality you can't, but the way that he did it was by being on the front lines shooting his camera while the soldiers were shooting their real guns. Again, lots of pictures of soldiers. That's one of the final sieges at the end of the Spanish Civil War. I'm just going to skip on a bit. We go through China in 1938. I really like these ones as well, where there's loads of images of people looking up to the skies. I guess this would be a period when people didn't know about the danger of mass bombardment from the air. And so if there was an air raid and the bombers started coming over, people would just stand there and watch. Whereas we know, sort of in later years, sort of during the Blitz on London and sort of the rest of the UK during the Second World War, as soon as the air sirens went off, people would run, and you would jump in a bunker or go in the underground. You wouldn't stand there watching because it was just too dangerous. The Mexican elections, which Capa went to cover, and into the Second World War. So Capa's coverage of the Second World War sort of started with North Africa and then the invasion of Sicily and Italy. And again, we have loads of really great images. That's a German soldier being treated by American medics. Another one. Always treated with respect. And a lot of the time you're left wondering, you know, often these pictures were taken under fire, and you know where Capa was standing while he was taking these. And here we have probably some of the most famous photographs that Capa was known for. These are the pictures that he took on D-Day on Omaha Beach in June 6, 1944. And Capa actually went ashore with the first wave on Omaha. And Omaha was the bloodiest beach, where the American army really got pinned down underneath the German defences for many hours and lost hundreds and thousands of men in the end. Capa went in on the first wave and took lots and lots of photographs, but unfortunately when the photographs were rushed back to London to be developed, the technician in the lab turned the heater up too high when he was developing them and ruined most of the pictures, and there's only a handful left, so you're left with these grainy images. The look of them really inspired Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan, but you just imagine what it would have been like if we'd had all the other dozens of images. Really thought-provoking. You really feel like you're sort of in touch with history looking at these pictures. Very powerful indeed. And again, there's a big difference in I hesitate to use the word quality, but you have pictures like this which are incredibly crisp and sharp, where he's obviously had the time, or there was enough light to use a larger aperture and a shorter shutter speed. But then lots of them are really are quite blurred, because he's taking pictures while people are being shot at. There's de Gaulle as he was re-entering Paris, and then we have Germany 1945. This is one of my favourite pictures that I talked about in the podcast, where you've got American glider paratroopers in Germany, and you can see there's all these soldiers milling around. Some of them are on the ground ducking for cover, others seem to be some are going that way, some are going that way, and this is a glider landing aircraft, so that would be full of soldiers, so that's coming in to crash land to let some more soldiers out to join the fighting. But it gives you a really good idea of the sort of the chaos that would have been going on. And then on the opposite page we have a shot of some German prisoners of war, again taken in 1945. Really powerful black and white images. There's some civilians running away from a burnt out farm. Another really powerful image on this picture, one of the last American soldiers killed in Berlin in 1945, an American machine gunner hit by a sniper. He goes on through Eastern Europe, Israel, through the new nation state of Israel and the building of the supply road to Jerusalem. But I'm going to skip ahead a bit. He has some nice portraits of his famous mates, Matisse, Picasso, another Picasso one, Truman Capote. There's old Bogey there with who's that? John Huston, the film director. And then we're just going to flip on to near the end of the book, where we've got his pictures of it from Indochina or Vietnam. So these were taken at the time when the French were fighting the communists in Indochina. The communists obviously fighting for independence, and Capa went out there for Life magazine, I think it was, to cover some of the war. And so, knowing what we know now about the fact that he was to die pretty much, within the next couple of weeks or months of taking these photographs, they're sort of very poignant. French prisoner of war after being released by the Vietnamese. And then again, here we have the sort of on the road out with the French, French and Vietnamese troops. And then the book sort of ends with, this is the last photograph that Robert Capa took before he stepped on a landmine on that fateful day on May 25th, 1954. So there we go. So Robert Capa photographs, published by Aperture. Excellent book to have. If you can't afford to buy it, go down to the library and either they might have it in stock or order it in. But if you've got the cash, just a brilliant book to look through all the time. The photos are so full of stories, and there's nice little captions that tell you a bit more about them. It would be nice to have a little bit more context to some of them, but really you can look at the photographs, then go on the internet and really investigate the stories behind things like the Spanish Civil War or the Mexican elections in 1940 or D-Day in 1944. So there we go, Robert Capa photography. Thanks for listening. That's Rob from robnonphoto.com.